In today's digital world, every click, every product view, and every purchase tells a story. Some businesses listen to that story and grow, others ignore it and get left behind. So think about this. Two online stores can sell the same product at the same price, but the one that understands its customers, tracks sales performance, and knows which product drive profit will always win. That advantage comes from data, and more importantly, the ability to analyze that data. Hey, my name is Augustine. Welcome back to the BI Analyst Hub. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to transform raw, messy e-commerce data into clean, interactive, and insightful e-commerce dashboard, all in Microsoft Excel. So by the end of this series, you won't just know how to build a dashboard. You understand how businesses use dashboard to identify their best selling product, track revenue and profit performance, and make decisions that increase sales and reduce losses. So here's the deal: whether you are a student, or a data analyst, or a business owner, or even you are someone looking to build a real world Excel project for your portfolio, this tutorial is going to level up your skills. So, what are you waiting for? Just grab your laptop, open your Excel workbook, and let's turn ordinary data into powerful business intelligence. See you there. All right, so these are the files that we are going to use in the tutorial. So I'll leave a link in the description area or in the comment section so that you can just download them and then follow me step by step. So this tutorial or this dashboard is going to be in 6 to 8 different parts. So if you're able to follow me through to the last part, there is nothing in Excel or there is no dashboard that you will not be able to build in as far as Microsoft Excel is concerned. Perfect. So if this is your first time watching my tutorials, kindly subscribe to the channel, like the video, and then turn on your notification so that anytime I post a new video, you'll be the first person to see it so that we can all learn together. Perfect. Now go ahead and download all the files here, right? Go ahead and download all the files. Now, after you download the files, do not open any of them, right? Don't open any of them. What we are going to do is we are going to import the file into Power Query so that you will do the data cleaning and transformation there, right? So in order to do that, just come to the Home tab. Just click on the Home tab, and then on the Home tab, you can just click on Get Data, or you can straight away click on what Test or CSV. Now, if you are working in your company or in your business or whatever, and then your data might not always be in a workbook or CSV or whatever here, right? Sometimes your data might or your data will be in your company's database. So if your data is in your company's database, you don't have to click on file, right? You just have to come to from database and then you choose a database that your company's data is, right? But then since my data is in a test format, I'll just click on what test. So just click on from test or CSV. So I'll click on that. And then when I click on that, I'll be sent to where my data is, right? So these are my data. So first of all, I'm going to import the transactions, table. So I'll click on that and click on what? Okay, or import. So I'll be presented with a preview of the Power Query editor. So let's wait for it to load. All right, so this is the preview, right? This is the preview. So it is showing based on what the first 200 rows. So this is what we want, right? So because we are going to transform our data and do all the cleaning, we are going to click on what transform data. So if you are certain that your data is in a good shape, you can just click on what load. But since we are going to transform our data, we just click on what transform data, and then it will send us to what Power Query. All right, so this is Power Query, right? This is Power Query editor. So this is where we are going to do all the transformation and everything. Perfect. So in our data, we have two types of, tables. You have two types of tables. You have the first one to be the fact table, and then the second one to be what, the lookup table or the dimensional table. So the fact table is also termed as what, the transactional table, and then the lookup table. So we have fact table or transactional table, and then we have dimensional table or lookup table, right? Perfect. So what we are going to do is we are going to first of all import the first three transactional tables or the fact tables. Now, what is the difference between the fact table and then the lookup table? The fact table or the transactional table contains our day-to-day transactions, right? And then normally it contains duplicate, right? It contains duplicate. So assuming you have, a customer, and then that particular customer with an ID of 100 buys from the company 10 times. That 10 transactions will be stored in our fact table or in our transactional table. But then the customer details, right? The customer detail, that single customer details will be stored in the customer table. That will be what? The lookup table or the dimension table. Do you get that? Yes. So uh, make sure you get the difference between the fact table and then the lookup table. Right, perfect. So because we have three fact tables and then I think two or three dimensional tables, I'm going to rename this. So I'm going to do transactional underscore fact table, and then I'll hit enter. Right. So now this is what. Let me do this T capital. Perfect. So this is what the first fact table, right? So this is the transactional table. Now let's see if there is some transformation that we have to do, or should we import all the data so that we will start with the transformation? I think that will work, right? So now let's import another table. So whilst on the home tab, right, on the home tab, just come to new query. You see new query section here. Click on new source. So when you click on the drop down, you see the same thing, files, and then you click on what, test or CSV. And then the next one is what, our returns table. So import, and then we are going to click on what, okay, and then it will be placed there. So this one too, this is also a fact table because it also contains what, the day-to-day transactions, right? So it means that one customer can return our product 10 times, right? So this customer returning the product 10 times, that returns 10 times returns will be stored in the returns table. Do you get that? Yes. So that is why it is what, a fact table. So you also name this as what, fact table, and then enter. So don't worry about the transformation right now. We are going to import everything, and then when we are done importing, we will start with the transformation. So the next one is what, let's go with the product cost. So the product cost is also what, a fact table, right? It's also a fact table because it contains duplicate, right? Perfect. So product cost underscore, underscore fact table, hit enter. So we have all our fact tables here, right? Now let's go and then bring our lookup table or the dimensional table. So you see, this one, no one is telling you, or this, when you look at the table name, nothing shows that this is a fact table or this is a transactional table or this is what. Do you get it? So you have to know, right? You as a data analyst, you have to know that this is the fact table and then this is my what, my lookup table. So let's go. The next one is what, the product table. Now the product table contains unique values, right? Contains unique values. So this will be what, our lookup table or our dimensional table. So I'll just do underscore them or underscore lookup, right? So whatever that the name that you choose to give it, or it depends on you, right? Perfect. So what else can we do? Do you know what? Let's let me first of all delete this one. I will do something, right? That's why I'm deleting this. So let's go to let's import the customer before the product, right? So let's go to customers. I'm going to do something. That's why I want to import the product table last. Perfect. So customers, this one too is what dimensional table or lookup table, because what it contains what only unique values, right? Only unique values. So the next one is going to be products. So products. Hit okay. Perfect. Let's click OK. And then let's rename this to what? Underscore dim or underscore dimension. Right. Perfect. So now we have five tables here, right? Now we have five tables here. Now let's start with the transformation. Now let's click on the transactions underscore fact table. So with the fact table, let's do Control A, select one column and then Control A, come to transform, and then you see this section detect data types. So we could have just detect the data types one by one, right? But then there's this thing here that can help us to detect the data type by just clicking on this. So when you click on this, the data type will be checked for you, right? Perfect. Now go back to home. Now let's see what can we do. What transformation can we do here? I think everything is set here, right? Everything is set here. Perfect. Everything is set here. You can also delete the columns that you don't want. Perfect. Now watch here with the discount. When you check the discount, we are having 300 and some funny numbers here, right? It's supposed to be in percentage, right? So watch here. When I change this to percentage, watch what will happen. So let me add a new step. Do you see that? Do you see we still have some funny numbers here? So let me go back. So in order to, make sure we have the correct percentage, what we are going to do is, first of all, let's go to transform, right? On the transform tab, what we are going to do is we are going to uh, add a prefix, right? Just follow what I'm doing and then you understand. So come to the text column, click on format, and then click on add prefix. Now, when you click on add prefix, you will be presented with this one. What we are going to add is we are going to add zero point 0.0, right? So sorry, zero point 0.0, and then you click on what? Okay. Now when you add zero point 0.0, now this we can now change this to what? A percentage. Now watch here. When I click on the data type and then I change this to percentage, you see that now it is showing us what? 3.01%. This one too is what? 9.85%. Do you see that? Perfect. So as a data analyst, first of all, you have to make sure you understand the column, right? You first of all make sure you understand the column, what each column represent, right? So if you are exploring the columns and then you don't understand what a column represents, you just have to go straight to your boss or whoever give you the data to analyze. So ideally, what happens in the real world is that whenever you are given a data set, you're also given something called a data dictionary, right? You are given something called a data dictionary. And then in the data dictionary explains uh, the meaning of each columns, right? So something like the customer key, the data dictionary will say that okay, the customer key is the column that uniquely identify the customers. Do you get that? Yes. So that is that. So this one we don't have data dictionary, but in the real world, when we are working with, real when we are working in a real company, this is what we are going to get. You are going to get what? A data dictionary. So take that for me. All right. So we are now we are now transforming the fact table, right? Let's go to the returns table. So with the returns table, I don't think there is, any transformation, right? But then if in the future we see any, I mean, we see the need to do any transformation, we will come back. So this one to select the column, Control A, come to transform and then detect the data type, right? So you make sure we have the correct data type. Perfect. Now let's come to product cost. Now, product cost too is what is the fact table, as I told you. So let's see. This one too, I don't think we have any transformation. So Control A to select all the column and then detect data type. And you see we have the perfect data types. Now let's come to customers. Now let's see if we have some transformation. We can remove the columns that we don't need, right? But then for the purpose of this tutorial, let's leave it like this. Maybe in the future we are going to, change our mind with some things. So let's leave everything like this. So Control A to detect the data type. Perfect. Now let's come to product. Let's see. Perfect. Now in the product table, I intentionally imported this one last. In the product table, when you scroll to this part, you see we have category, subcategory, and then we have what category. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to normalize this product table. Now, in data analysis, in Excel or in Power BI or in data analysis, when you hear about or in SQL, when you hear about normalization or in databases, when you hear about normalization, normalization is just the process where you structure the tables and then the columns in your data, right? So, specifically in your relational database, right? In your relational database. Now, what is the reason why we normalize our data? So we have two main reasons. The first reason is to what? To preserve or to minimize redundancy, right? To minimize redundancy, and then the second one is what? To preserve data integrity, right? Perfect. So that is normalization. Now, watch here. Don't forget about the English. What I'm going to do is, you see, I don't want to see the category and the category name in this product. What do you call it? Table, right? I have to get a separate table that will store the subcategory and then what the category, so that the product table we will not have this. Sorry, we will not have these two columns in the product table, right? So watch here. I'm going to right click and then duplicate the product table two times, right? So I have product table and I have two product table. Now this first duplicated product table, I'm going to name it as what? Product, let's say category, right? Category, product category. Perfect. So I will, should I bring them? Okay, you can bring them product underscore them category, or let's leave it like that. We first of all we know that this is what our dimensional table, right? Now let's rename this one to product subcategory category. So we are, doing the normalization. So just follow what I'm doing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the what do you call it? The product category table, right? I'm going to go to the product category table. Now I'll scroll to this part and then I'll locate the product, the category name. What I'll do is I'll right click and then I'll go to remove other columns, right? So we'll be left with only the category name. Now you see this one, we have duplicate. So something like protein. We have duplicate, right? So mind you, in the reason why we say a table is what a lookup table or a dimensional table is the first feature is what it contains what unique values. But in this case, this table contains or this column contains what duplicate values. So what we can do is right click and then we go to what remove duplicate. So when I click on that, you see now we now have what unique values, right? Perfect. Now in order to make sure that in the future we will connect this category and then the subcategory table to the product table, we have to get something here, right? Something that will serve as a key, right? Something that will serve as a key so that in the future we can use that key to connect the tables, right? So what we can do here is let's go to add column. Let's go to add column, and then on add column, you see come to the general section, you see index column. So the index column is used to create a unique column, right? It is used to create a unique column. So when I click on that, you see we have what 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can also let me clear that. You can also click on the drop down and then you see that it should start from 1, right? So whatever that you want, you can do it here, right? Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click and then I'm going to rename this to what? So this is what category key or ID, right? Perfect. So hit enter. Now, best practice is whenever we have a key, it should be the starting point, right? It's not compulsory, but then this is what the best practice. Perfect. Now we are done with the product category, right? Now let's come to the product subcategory. Sorry, subcategory. So the same thing. We are done with the category. We will come to subcategory, right click and then remove other columns. So you see this one too, we have duplicate, right? So this is a dimensional table, but then we have duplicate. So the duplicate inside doesn't make it a dimensional table. So in order to make it a dimensional table, what we do is what we remove duplicate. So you see we have what duplicate, sorry, we have unique values here. Now the same thing, come to add column, click on this, and then you can see the key or the index should start from 1, right? Or you can just click here and then click on the custom, and then you can give you a custom interval, right? Perfect. So I'm going to double click and then say this is a sub category, right? Key. Perfect. So I'll click enter, and then I'll drag this one to the beginning, right? Perfect. Now we are done. Right, now we are done. Now you ask yourself, there's nothing connecting these two key, or sorry, these two table to the product table, right? Mind you, we duplicated, or we got these two columns or tables from this, product table. So it is ideal, right? Or it is prudent for us to, connect the table, right? So what we are going to do is select this table, right? Select the table, and what we are going to do, go to home, or see transform. Sorry, I'm looking for something. Okay, so go to home. Whilst the product table is selected, right? The product underscore dim table is selected. Go to home, and then you see merge queries, right? Merge queries. Click on merge queries, and then you'll be presented with the merge queries panel here. So come here, click on the drop down, and then what we are going to start with is what the product category table. So now with the product category table, you see we have product category name here, and then we have what category name here, right? So watch here. When I select so let me select this one. So when I select category name from this table, and I select a different table that does not match. Watch here. So you see the selection matches 0 of 349 rows from the first table. So when I select category name, I also have to select category name from here. Now you see we have what 349 of 349. So the numbers should be the same, right? The numbers should be the same, right? Perfect. So let me click on OK. So we are connecting this category name to this category name. So I'll click on OK. Now we have this product category column here, right? Do you see that? Perfect. So now what we can do is, let's click on this one, this box here, white box here. When I click on that, we are going to first of all deselect everything, and then what do we use, or what do we want to use to serve as the key, or what can we use to create the relationship? So we can use what the category key, right? You can use the category key to create the relationship, and then I'll deselect this. So I'll click on OK. Now do you see that we have what 00? So when I click on this, you see we have 0 to 4, right? Perfect. So now we have something that we can use to connect the product table as far as the product category is concerned, right? Now the same thing, click on the product underscore dim, be on the home tab, and then click on what merge queries. So the same process, but this time we are going to do this for what product subcategory. So I'm going to select the subcategory, and then I'll come here and then I will select what subcategory. Now you see we have what 349 of 349. So you always have to make sure they are the same number, right? Perfect. So I'll click on OK. So the same process, I'll click on this white button here, deselect everything, and then select the subcategory key, right? Make sure this is deselected, and then click on what OK. So now you see that we have the subcategory key, and then we have what the category key. Perfect. So now since we have the key, right? Since we have the keys here, we don't need these two colors, right? We don't need these two colors, because we are going to use the key to connect them, right? So I'll select the two columns, right click, and then what? Remove columns. So now we have what? Only what? Uh, unique, unique values in the product table, right? You have only unique values in the product table. Perfect. Now, what can we do? What can we do? Now, in our analysis, right? In our analysis, we are going to, make use of time intelligence, analysis. So with the time intelligence analysis, the monthly trend, the yearly trend, the quarter, the days. Do you see that? Yes. So that is the time intelligence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a separate table, right? I'm going to create a separate table for my time intelligence analysis, right? So what I can do is select the transactions table, right? Select the transactions underscore fact table. Now, what do you ask yourself? Why are we selecting the fact table transaction, but not returns or product or any of the remaining tables? Now, we are selecting the fact transactions table because the transactions table serve as what? The day to day, the transactions table contain the day-to-day transactions of what? The business or of the company. Do you see that? Yes. So that is why we select the transactions table or the sales table or whatever, right? Because it contains what? The day-to-day transactions. Perfect. So what we can do is right click on the transactions and then you go to duplicate, right? Perfect. So now with the duplicated one, we are going to name this one as what? Date table or what? Calendar table, right? So this will serve as our date table. It contains our time intelligence functions, right? Perfect. So now, watch here. Uh, we are looking for dates, right? So let's scroll, let's scroll, and we are going to use the order date. We have due date and then we have ship date. Now we ask ourselves, why are we using the order date? Because this is, obvious, right? It is obvious. We want to know the day that the customer made what the purchase, not the day that we are shipping the product or the day that it is due for us to send the product to the customer, right? We want to use the order date, the day the customer uh, what do you call it? Ordered for the product, and then we use that day to make our decisions, right? Perfect. So all we can do is right click on this, and then we are going to remove other columns. Perfect. Now the same thing, the date table here contains duplicates, right? So we right click, and then you click on what? Remove duplicate. Now we have what? Duplicate dates. Now we can double click, and then we can name this as what? Date. Perfect. Now what can we do? What can we do? First of all, let's go to add column and then let's add the year. So on add column, whilst the date column is selected, or yes, on add column tab, just go to the last part here, click on the date, and then hover on year, and then click on what? Year. Then you see we have what? The year. We have extracted the year from the date. The same thing, click on the date again, click on the date, and then we are going to extract the month number, right? So this is the month number. It should be something like 1 to 12. Perfect. So don't worry, we are going to use this for something in the future. So select the date again, click on date, and then this time around, when you hover on month, we are not going to select month, we are going to select what? Name of month. Click on that, and then this one, we don't want the full name, right? So if you have been following my videos, you know that I'm not a fan of this full name, right? I always want to, transform it and then use the short name. So I'll go to select the column, go to transform. So the difference between the transform tab and then the add column tab is, so when we want to transform an existing column, so this one that we want to, make changes to this column, you'll be on what? Transform. But if you want to add another column, you come to what? Add column, right? So this, ideology or this method is the same thing in what? Power BI. So if you understand it here, using Power BI will be very easy for you. All right. So whilst on the transform column, I'll go to format. No, extract rather. Perfect. So I'll go to extract and then I'll extract what? The first characters. When I click on first characters, I'll type 3. So I want to extract the first 3 characters and I'll hit OK. So instead of we getting the full name, do you see what we are getting here? Perfect. So I'll come back to the date. go to add column, and then I'm going to add the quarter. So click on the drop down. I'll hover on quarter, and then I'll click on quarter of year. So we should get something like 1 to 4, right? 1 to 4. Perfect. Now let's transform the quarter. So you see, with 1, 2, 3 doesn't make sense. So let's add something to it, like maybe QTR or quarter one. Do you see that? Perfect. So select the quarter, go to transform because we are going to transform the existing column, right? Perfect. So on transform, let's go to is it from okay format. So when you click on format, you see add prefix. So I'll click on add prefix, and I'll type QTR dash, right? Or hyphen or whatever. So click OK. You see this one becomes quarter one, quarter two. So whoever takes our data will see that, oh, okay, we are referring to what quarter. Perfect. So we come back to the date again. And then this time around, you go to add column, click on date, and then you go to the day. Let's see, day of week. There should be the number. Perfect. So we should have something like 0 to 6. Perfect. Now, don't worry about the number here. We are going to use it in the future. So select the date again, go to add column, click on date, and then this time around with the day, I'm going to click on name of day, right? Name of day. Then the same thing, we are going to transform it. Select the column, the day name column, click on transform, and then we are going to extract the first three characters, right? Click, and then we click on what? Okay. So now we have transformed what? The date or the day name, right? So this is what our date table or our calendar table that will serve or that we are going to use for time intelligence analysis. Perfect. So I think we are done here. I think we are done here. So perfect. So what we can do here is, in order to go back to our normal Excel, just come to home, and then on home you see close and load. When I click on the drop down, we have close and load, and then we have close and load too. Now, because we have multiple tables, we don't want to, just dump the data into our normal worksheet, right? We don't want to just dump the data into our normal worksheet. What we want to do is we want to, uh, store the data in our data model, right? We want to store the data in our data model so that we can use the data. We can use the data to we can use the data model to create relationships, right? Or we can use the data to model our tables. So what we can do here is we can also click on close and load to. So when I click on close and load to, it will load, and then you will not see it in a normal worksheet, but then it will create a model here. So watch here, it is loading. Let's wait for it to load. It is loading. All right, so now see something here. You see, select how you want to view this data in your workbook. So when you click on table, the data will be, loaded into our worksheet, right? And then you'll be able to see the data. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on only create a connection, right? Only create a connection, and then I'll check add this to our data model, right? Add this to our data model, then I click on OK. So watch here, you see it is loading. So perfect. Now this is the data model I'm talking about. Now do you see that our data is loading here? Let's wait for it to load. So loading data. Perfect. Let's wait for it to load. We have 8 tables, right? That's why it's taking a longer time. Then we have the transactions table. It has over 60,000 columns. So we have a lot of data. So it has to take time and then load all the data for us. Perfect. It is loading. All right. Perfect. So the date table is done. All right. Perfect. So we have 40 rows in the date table. We have 12,000 rows in the 12,000 plus rows in the product table, right? Do you see that? Perfect. We have 3,000, almost 4,000 rows, 7 as what? The returns. Perfect. Do you see that? Perfect. So we have what? 60,855, rows in our transactions table, right? Perfect. So assuming you want to go back to Power Query, what you can do is when you hover on it, when you hover on any of these, tables, you see we have a preview here, and then you can click on what edit, and then you go back to what Power Query. Perfect. So I can just exit this, and then this is what I've been able to do. Perfect. All right. So we've been able to transform and then clean our data, and then we've been able to add our date table and everything that we needed. So now, if you watch here, we have eight, tables, right? We have eight tables. But then, per what we have to do or per what we want to do, there must be some relationship between the tables, right? There must be some relationship between the tables. So the fact table should be related to maybe the product table or the customers table, and then the customers table should be related to what the date table and so on. But then when you check here, there is no relationship, right? There's no relationship. So in this section, we are going to make sure we connect or yes, we connect the tables, right, by creating a relationship or by modeling the tables. So what we can do here is first of all, we can go to Power Query, right? You can go to Power Query and then you can click on what manage. You can click on manage. But then if you don't have Power Query, click on data. When you click on data, you will see manage data model. So when you click on manage data model, you'll be presented or you'll be sent to what the Power Pivot, where you'll be able to create the relationship, right? Or where you'll be able to model your data. Perfect. So let's see. Perfect. So this is what the Power Pivot editor, Power Pivot view. And then we have all our tables here, right? We have all our tables here. But then if we were to use our normal functions, right? If we were using our normal functions, we would have used VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP to, connect or uh, relate our tables, right? But then because we are using the advanced, form or version of Excel, we are going to use DAX, right? We are going to use DAX to, do all the calculations. So what we are going to do is we are going to create a relationship by using what the diagram view. So in Power Query, we have two views. We have data view and then what the diagram view. So now it is showing what the data view, right? And we can toggle to the diagram view so that we will see the tables and sorry, we'll be able to create the relationship. So when I click on diagram view, you see the diagram view is opening. Perfect. And then this is what the diagram view. So what we can do here is so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring all my fact tables down here. I'm going to bring all my fact tables down here. So this is what a fact table. Perfect. So just follow what I'm doing, right? And then you are going to understand it. So everything that I'm showing you is what the best practice, right? That is, used in the real world. So if you want to have, or if you yes need to have a real world experience, this tutorial is going to be very very helpful for you. Perfect. So I'll bring this one here, bring this one here, go to customer here. Perfect. So we are going to understand why I'm positioning everything like this, right? So I'll minimize this. Sorry, something like this, and I'll bring this one here. Perfect. So watch something here. Now you ask yourself, why did I bring all my fact tables down here? And then why did I bring my lookup table to the top? Okay. So don't worry, when I do one, connect one table, you understand. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the customer table, right? I'm going to start with the customer. Let's, make this one come down a little. I'm going to start with the customer table. So I'm going to connect. So in the customer table, you see we have customer key, right? Now let's see the transactional table whether we have customer key. Perfect. So you see we have customer key here. We have customer key here. Now the reason why we term one table as a fact table and then one table as dimension or lookup table is that the customer key here, right? The customer key in the customers table is unique, right? It is unique because it only repeats once per customer. But then the customer table in the transactional fact table here is not unique, right? So this customer table is what the primary key, and then in the customer table, and then this customer table in the transactions underscore fact table is what termed as what the foreign key. So we are going to connect them using the primary key and then what the foreign key. Perfect. I know you understand. So what I'm going to do is just select the customer key, drag it to the customer key in what the transactions underscore fact table. Then you see there will be a one to many relationship. Perfect. So now you ask yourself, why am I saying one to many relationship? So this is one. So wherever you see the one, it means the unique value is here, right? So before I created the relationship, I told you that this customer key is unique, right? Because every customer has a unique key that uniquely identifies them, right? So that key is what is in the customers table. And when you come here, the same customer key here is termed as what foreign key because it contains duplicates. One customer can make 10 purchases at the same time, the same day. Do you see that? Yes. So such details will come to what the transactions table. Now the reason why I'm saying one to many is that this customer table is one because the customer key I mean show I don't know how to put it. The customer key, we have only one key for the customers, right? So if you have maybe Samuel or Solomon or uh, maybe Abigail or whatever, they are going to have unique key. So if Samuel is key number one, Abigail will be key number two. Abigail can never be key number one in the customers table. Do you get that? That is why this is what one, meaning it is unique. The customer key appeared only once, but then here is many. You see, here is a hash. The hash or the asterisk symbol represents what many. It means that that customer key Abigail, right? Abigail being customer key one. Abigail can represent or Abigail can appear here 10 times, right? Because Abigail can make purchases or can buy 10 products at the same time or one product at the same time at the same day. Do you get that? I hope with this explanation, there's you understand this perfectly, right? Perfect. So that is that. So one to many relationship, and then you see that the flow is what the arrow is flowing down. That is why I always bring my what fact table down, right? Because it will flow down. Perfect. Now, the same customer table should be related or should be linked to what the returns table, right? Perfect. So you see in the returns table here, we also have what customer key. So we have customer key in the returns table because in the future we want to see the name of the customer or the customer who returned the product, right? That's why we have his key here. So we are going to select it and then I mean link that one to here, right? So the same thing, one to many. Perfect. Now follow me closely and then you are going to understand everything perfectly. All right. Now I think let's go to the date table here. Now the date table should be, you see we have date, right? You have date here. Let's first of all, then we also have date here, right? So you're going to select this and then drag this one here. So there's always going to be one too many. Now the date you remember when you duplicated the transactions table, the date was what? Uh, we have duplicate date, but then we removed duplicates, right? That is why here you're seeing what one to many. Perfect. I hope with this explanation you understand it more than my myself, right? Perfect. So the transactions table sorry, date table should also be linked to the transactions table because you have what order date, right? You have order date. Mind you, the order date is what we use to do our time intelligence table. So we'll bring the date to the order date, then you see the same thing, one to many relationship. So please follow the relationship is going to be uh, the lines are going to be too many here. So that's why I'm doing it one by one. Also, I started with the customers table. So I took the customer's key and then I placed it under transactions. And I took the customer's key and then I connected it to what the customer's key in the returns table. That's what the first part. And then the second part, I came to date table. I dragged the date to the date under what product cost. And I also dragged the date under the date table to what the other date under what the transactions table. Now the last one is I'm going to drag the date this date to the other date and what and our returns, right? So you see we have other date here. There's going to be what one to many relationship. Perfect. Now let's go to product, right? Let's go to product. Let's connect the product key. I think we have okay, so we see product key here. Let's connect the product key to the product key here. Because in the future we would want to know what product are the customers buying, blah 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 blah. Perfect. So now let's we also have product key here in the returns, right? We are also connecting this to this because we want to see the product that is being returned, right? Perfect. And let's go to category. Now, you recall that we duplicated the product table and then we created the category table and the subcategory table, right? So this category key is here. So we are going to use this category key and then we connect it to this. Perfect. And then we are going to use a subcategory key, and we are going to connect it to this. Do you see that? Perfect. So this is the relationship that you've been able to create, right? This is the relationship that you've been able to create. So in the future, where we have to do another, where we have to connect different table to a different table, we are going to come back and then we are going to do it perfectly. So for now, this is what we have to do perfectly. So we can exit here. We can just cancel it or we can just click on the Excel icon here. You see switch to workbook. So click on that and then we have switched to it. So now we are still not seeing anything, right? We are still not seeing anything. Don't worry. We are going to see something very soon. Now, I always prefer to store my DAX calculations in one table, right? I always prefer to store my DAX calculations in one table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select any cell, right? I'm going to select any cell in my worksheet and Control C to copy, right? Just follow what I'm doing. Copy, select a cell, copy, come to Power Pivot, come to Manage, and then go to the Data View. Now, when you go to the data view, automatically you see this cell here will be selected. Don't do anything here. The only thing that I want you to do is just click on what? Paste. Right. So when you click on paste, you should see something like this pasted table. Now delete the pasted table, then say all measures or calculations. Calculations table or just calculations, and then you'll be good to go. So when I click on OK, another table will be added here. Watch here. So do you see that another table is here? So we have all the tables, including this new table. So this new table is where we are going to store all our measures here. Right? This is where we are going to store all our measures. So now we are done with this. Let's go back and then we are good to go. Perfect. So now what I can do here is it's now time for me to insert my pivot table, right? So as usual, I'm going to select any cell. I'll go to insert. So when I click on the insert tab, the first thing I will see here is what? Pivot table. So I'll click on pivot table. Then this one, you don't have to do anything because Excel knows that we are using what our data model because there is no data in our sheet, right? So Excel automatically checked use this workbook's data model, right? And then this is what existing worksheet because you have selected here. Then we are going to click on OK. Now, when you click on OK, watch here. You're going to get the pivot table field list here. So this is the pivot table field list, right? And then it contains all our tables. So this is what the calculations table that we created recently. And this is what the customers table, the date table, and then all the other tables in our data model, right? Do you see that? Perfect. So the calculations table is where all our calculations will be stored, right? Perfect. So when you click on the drop down, you're going to see the various columns here, right? Perfect. So this is what you've been able to do so far, right? This is what we've been able to do so far. So that is that. Perfect.